This video is a critique which is considered fair use under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. I do not own any of these clips. This is simply fan-made for entertainment purposes only. The Simpsons is owned by Mac Groening, James L. Brooks, Sam Simon, and Fox Television. Enjoy! So it's October. It's Halloween season. A time for kids to get candy from complete strangers, young women dressing up as slutty as possible, and some of the best horror movies ever being horribly censored and ruined by regular television. Sadly, I'm not here to talk about any of these things. I'm actually here to review a show everyone's been asking me to review. Okay, I know a lot of you want a top 10 best Simpsons episodes list, but unlike American Dad, I'm like 15 seasons behind this show. There are about 350 episodes I haven't seen yet. However, one thing I always enjoyed from The Simpsons was their incredible Treehouse of Horror Halloween specials. And since there's only 26 of those episodes with only about 6 I hadn't seen, as opposed to 600 episodes with over 300 I haven't seen, it kinda goes without saying that this would be a better list for me to make at the moment. Now, since the Treehouse of Horror episodes are multiple segments in one episode, I'm only going to pick one segment from an episode to include on this list. And even that still made this a hard list to make, as, in my opinion, these are the segments that contain the best material from The Simpsons. So let me welcome you to this Halloween week with the top 10 best Treehouse of Horror segments. Number 10. Lisa's Dream. Now, one thing I love about shows like The Simpsons is that they usually can make cliche plots that we've seen a million times before feel fresh once again. And this is a good example of that. This episode's moral, well, it's be careful what you wish for. Yeah, how many times have you heard that? Well, in this episode, they tackle what would happen if you wish for something selfish, like for example being rich and famous, and something selfless, like world peace. Again, very cliche topics, but this episode gives very colorful commentary on them. When the Simpsons are rich and famous, everyone despises them because they're everywhere. Kinda like the Kardashians, and Frozen.
If I hear one more thing about The Simpsons, I swear I'm going to scream.
At first they were cute and funny, but now they're just annoying.
Yeah, they were pretty spot on with this one. And with world peace, they do things a little differently. Because everyone destroys their weapons, as no one has any needs for them anymore, aliens attack and enslave humanity because the humans can't defend themselves, which is clever and humorous.
People of Earth, we come to you in the spirit of hostility and menace.
This segment is by far the most entertaining and interesting segment from this Treehouse of Horror episode. And when we start the list off with the clever and humorous segment, that shows we're in for some really great episodes on this list.
Oh, foul accursed thing! What demon from the depths of hell created thee?
Number 9. Easy Bake Coven. This is a fun little segment. The segment basically mocks the Salem witch trials, except this time, Marge gets accused of being a witch, and she actually is one.
Well, I'll be a son of a witch. That's right. I'm a witch.
When she tells her sisters what happened, they decide to get revenge on the town by stealing their children to eat them. But the Flanders offer them some candy in exchange for the children, and this happens.
What did you get?
Candied apple.
I got a caramel cod.
Yeah, see what it's doing? This episode took a story about the Salem witch trials and turned it into the origin of Halloween. And the connection is really well executed. There are some great mockeries of some classic witch stereotypes, and it's a nice little ending to this Treehouse of Horror episode. I think this would be one segment worth watching every Halloween.
I just wish we hadn't filled up on all those kids before we got to the Flanders.
Number 8. Ghost Dad! Yes, I know it's a parody of an absolutely horrible movie, but it's got something that movie didn't. That's right, humor. In this segment, Homer's horoscope says that he's gonna die today.
Today you will die.
What?
And you may get a compliment from an attractive coworker. Lenny?
And after a few close calls with death, Homer actually does end up dying. But what kills him is so fucking hilarious that I'm gonna let Dr. Hibbert explain what it was.
Another broccoli-related death.
But I thought broccoli was...
Oh yes, one of the deadliest plants on Earth. Why, it tries to warn you itself with its terrible taste.
That's fucking hilarious. Kids, stay away from broccoli. Doctor's orders. After Homer's death, he ends up getting denied access to heaven until he does a good deed. But his attempts result in him getting beat up by Nelson and killing Principal Skinner's mother.
I'm pretty sure she was gonna be the next Hitler!
And when Homer does do his good deed, well, it literally goes unnoticed.
Did you see that? I did the deed! Open up!
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't looking.
Now I know this segment has quite a few dark jokes in it, but honestly, these jokes are so well executed, and the setup of Homer trying to get into heaven is really just one of those plots that writes itself. I really enjoy this, and I find it to be one of the funniest segments from the Treehouse of Horror series.
Clean the garage? Paint the house? Grab the...
Whoa, I'm just trying to get in. I'm not running for Jesus.
Number 7. Dial M for Murder. Now I love quite a few Alfred Hitchcock movies, and Strangers on a Train is easily a top 5 choice for me, and it seems to be the source of some great parodies, like a skit in Robot Chicken, a hilarious movie called Throw Mama from a Train, and hell, I'm pretty sure even Horrible Bosses got inspiration from its plot. And this Treehouse of Horror segment decided to try its hand at parodying it, and it's not a bad parody either. After Lisa gets sent to detention, Bart offers to get revenge on Lisa's teacher if Lisa gets revenge on Bart's teacher. Lisa agrees, but mistakenly assumes that Bart meant to prank his teacher. And after pranking her, Lisa finds out that Bart actually had something else in mind.
You killed her? Right, like we agreed. I never said kill.
Because Lisa didn't go through with the plan, Bart starts pressuring and even blackmailing Lisa into following through on her side of the deal, which leaves Lisa in a really tough predicament.
Either take care of Krabappel or groundskeeper Willie will say he saw you kill Miss Hoover.
Why would Willie do that? Let's just say he owes me a favor.
This segment is filled with great homages to Alfred Hitchcock. It's shot in black and white just like the original movie, and just like a good portion of Hitchcock films, it had a nice little twist ending as well. Hell, I'd probably go as far as to call this one my favorite parody of Strangers on a Train.
Go ahead, do it. You're no different from me. We're made from the same dinner.
It's pronounced DNA, you idiot.
Number 6. School is Hell. In this segment, Lisa and Bart translate ancient carvings on a school desk and get sent straight to hell. But not just any hell, school hell! Oh, you poor, sweet bastards. Actually, this episode, while not only being visually impressive, has some really incredible writing. I mean, not really with the story, but with its jokes. Just listen to some of these.
It's true. It would be a cold day in hell when I was popular.
This has never happened before. I have a crush on my teacher. Down here, we can make that happen. Wow. Oh, that is so evil. And I know evil. I'm head of the teachers union.
Yeah, there's just a lot of jokes in this episode where I found myself impressed and laughing my ass off. And while the story is kind of basic, it doesn't really need to be anything more. I mean, you put Lisa and Bart in hell school and everything just kind of falls into place. Lisa becomes popular because she's secretly a bitch, Bart excels at his classes because they involve torture, and the jokes are so plentiful, so creative, and so well executed that you really don't need to focus too hard on making a complex story. Really, for a show like this, all you need is the perfect setup, and your characters will make this segment incredible. This segment shows that.
Which one's yours?
Number 5. I know what you did. Honestly, if I had to pick one show to parody I Know What You Did last summer, I'd definitely pick The Simpsons. They just seem to have a knack for making parodies of certain types of movies, and a psychological thriller seems ideal for them. When Marge accidentally runs over Ned Flanders, Homer, trying to cover it up, tries to make it look like Ned died naturally.
I think I'm having a heart attack! And that's the end of that chapter.
But after Ned's funeral, the Simpsons find out that someone saw what they did, and the person who saw it starts trying to kill them.
Dear God, it's Homer. If you really love me, you'll save my life now. No!
This segment actually did a great job staying true to the original source material, and even added in some clever little winks to some famous horror movie locations, as well as put a nice little twist on what was already a decent little shock in the original movie. It's definitely a well-written segment, and it's one of the segments that I personally think blended horror and comedy together perfectly.
Wow, it sure is slippery up here!
My pies are done.
Oh, she missed it.
Number 4. Citizen Kang. I'm sorry, I know you guys don't want to keep hearing all this political talk, especially with how much everyone's been talking about it lately. But just like the episode Douche and Turd from South Park, this segment of Treehouse of Horror sums up this year's election perfectly. In fact, it's probably even stronger than Douche and Turd. In this segment, Homer gets abducted by Kodos and Kang as they need him to, well, take them to his leader, who at the time was Bill Clinton, and who was running for re-election against Bob Dole. So Kodos and Kang abduct both of them and take their place in the election.
Oh no, aliens, bioduplication, nude conspiracies. Oh my God, Lyndon LaRouche was right!
Yeah, that alone sums up this election. In fact, let's count the number of times this episode was spot on with how this year's election is going.
As Overlord, all will kneel trembling before me and obey my brutal commands.
It makes no difference which one of us you vote for. Either way, your planet is doomed. Abortions for all. Very well. No abortions for anyone.
But getting off of its accuracies of this year's election, this segment is so entertaining and well written. It definitely has a wonderful grasp on how the American political system works, and clearly knows how to mock it. The aliens are fun characters, the plot is very solid, the end results make total sense, and there's even some clever jokes like this one.
No, what are you spraying me with?
Run, so no one will believe your story.
Yeah, that is just so clever and creative that you have to love it. I'm really not too surprised that this is one of the most popular Treehouse of Horror segments. It's really got it all.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Go!
Oh, and in response to Casey Neistat's video, well, the person I'll be voting for will be... Ah, for fuck's sakes, YouTube! Number 3. Time and Punishment. Yeah, it was either this one or The Shinning from Treehouse of Horror 5. And while The Shinning would be a top 5 pick for me, Time and Punishment is a top 3 pick because it has always been my favorite from this episode. In this segment, after an accident that results in Homer destroying the toaster, he ends up accidentally turning the toaster into a time machine.
Look at that! I'm the first non-Brazilian person to travel backwards through time.
Correction, Homer. You're the second.
What I really enjoy about this episode, and what makes it kind of stand out to me, is, well, say it with me, creativity. Now this episode seems kind of similar to the late Philip J. Fry, one of the best Futurama episodes ever made, but at the same time, it's very different while still being as creative. Homer ends up traveling back to the Jurassic period and ends up finding out that everything he kills or destroys has a drastic effect on the future. Like, for example, Homer kills a mosquito and Flanders becomes ruler of the earth. Homer kills a fish and people become 50-foot-tall monsters. And what do you think happens when Homer ends up doing this?
This is gonna cost me.
Nope, I'm not even gonna tell you. I want you to watch it yourself. It's just one of the most entertaining segments ever. Like, you really can't help but want to see what they do with it, because it's really one of those things where they can just do anything with it, and they do. So yeah, I've always enjoyed this one.
Oh, I wish I hadn't killed that fish.
Number 2. Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. Yeah, like I said earlier, The Simpsons have a way of making funny spoofs out of horror classics. And A Nightmare on Elm Street was, without a doubt, the holy grail of horror and comedic possibilities for them. After Homer causes an accident that kills groundskeeper Willie, Willie starts attacking the children one by one in their dreams. And god damn, is Willie fucking frightening! Like, this man really could give you nightmares after seeing him.
You'll pay for this with your children's blood!
Despite its horror though, there are some great comedic moments thrown in all throughout this episode, and Willie actually has some creative ways of attacking the children. If you're looking for a good segment to get you into the Halloween spirit, I definitely suggest this one. Now, before I reveal number 1, I want to show you my favorite segment from the Treehouse of Horror episodes that aren't listed in this video. These aren't in any particular order because I think every Treehouse of Horror episode has at least one segment worth viewing, and I don't think I could fairly rank these remaining segments in order. Just consider this the list of segments I personally suggest watching on whatever Treehouse of Horror episode you come across. And now, let me present to you my number 1 favorite Treehouse of Horror segment. Number 1. The Devil and Homer Simpson. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Treehouse of Horror 4 is my all-time favorite Treehouse of Horror episode, followed very closely by Treehouse of Horror 5, by the way. It had not 1, not 2, but 3, as in all of its segments, that I would have put on this top 10 list. Terror at 5.5 Feet, Bart Simpson's Dracula, and The Devil and Homer Simpson. This segment here is just a classic. For me personally, it's the face of the Treehouse of Horror franchise. After Homer's co-workers eat all the donuts, Homer makes a deal with the devil for a donut. And yes, the devil is fucking Ned Flanders. I mean, that's fucking genius. Flanders, I mean the devil, tells Homer that once he's finished the donut, he'll get Homer's soul. And Homer actually manages to outsmart him for a bit.
Hey, wait. If I don't finish this last bite, you don't get my soul, do you?
Technically no, but...
I'm smarter than the devil!
That is, until he homers it up anyway and eats the donut after only a few hours. But before the devil can get his soul, Lisa says her dad has a right to a fair trial. And it's one of the most entertaining trials you'll ever see.
But first, some ground rules. Number 1, we get bathroom breaks every half hour.
Agreed. Number 2, the jury will be chosen by me.
Agreed.
This segment just has some of the smartest writing I've ever seen from The Simpsons. The creativity is great, the setup is ingenious, the characters are stupendous, and the whole segment contains multiple classic moments from The Simpsons. Like the scene where Homer gets tortured in hell with donuts.
I don't understand it. James Coco went mad in 15 minutes.
The scene where the jury appears.
Benedict Arnold, Lizzie Borden, Richard Nixon.
But I'm not dead yet.
Well, you will be in less than a year. And it also has one of the best one-liners of all time when Flanders first appears as the devil.
Flanders! You're the devil?
It's always the one you least suspect.
There was not a single second of this segment where I wasn't laughing or smiling. I have nothing more to add. This is one of the greatest things The Simpsons ever created, in my opinion. And it's one segment that I make a tradition to watch every Halloween.
Arr! This chair be high, says I.
And that'll do it for this list. Hope you guys all have a fun Halloween, everyone be safe, and I'll see you in my next Halloween special.